Hello there. In this video, I'm going to explain how fractional consultants of any type, marketing, finance, whatever it might be, can get 2 to 3 new clients from LinkedIn every single month organically. No paid ads needed, no feast and famine waiting around for referrals to come through. This system will allow you to basically take control of your business and your client acquisition, get a consistent cash flow to either grow the business or make it more efficient so that you can buy back some of your time. So let's get into it. So fractional consulting has become, just even people calling themselves fractional, every consultant is technically a fractional consultant, but the term fractional consultant has got more popular in the last few months, and the people at the head of the market find it easy to sell it because they have the background, they have the results, and so they're getting all the best clients basically. But if you're starting out as say you've been in full-time employment in an agency before or another business and you want to become a fractional, or if you've just been like a kind of a freelance consultant, let's say, and you want to move to the fractional model, i.e. charging basically higher retainers and keeping customers for longer and positioning yourself as a partner in the business, that can be a difficult transition. The main reason I find for that is because I've worked with a lot of people who've done it, and I'm effectively a fractional consultant myself as well, but I'm positioned myself differently. The reason people find it hard is because companies see fractional consultants as expensive. So the first big change that you need to make is not to sell, or is that you should be selling a system. So you're not selling your time anymore. That's a massive paradigm shift that's going to make a lot of difference. So people don't value your time. They only value the problems that they have, and they will pay for those solutions. And the way to solve them is to position your service, offer, consultancy, whatever that might be, as the solution that they need in order to do that. The best way to do that I found, is to offer what you do as a closed system. What I mean by closed system, that means it's basically a 6-step methodology or process or system or step-by-step procedure that you follow, that when applied to a company in a specific situation gets a specific outcome. And then you don't have to then I see a lot of fractionals trying to sell to the save money by not hiring a full-time staff. That's massively devaluing you straight away, because if you think about that, you're positioning yourself as I'm the cheaper solution, and you don't want to be doing that. You want to, if you're charging 6,000, 7, 8, 10, whatever it might be, you need to position yourself as very high value, and you need to position it needs to be perceived that you're delivering 3, 4, even 5 times the value that you're charging in order for you to be able to close those deals. So the key to that is then have a closed system, go through your 8 steps, think about your customer journey. So when you sign a new client, what's the 8 steps or 6 steps? It's usually something like that you bring them through. Go and get a piece of paper, write that down, see what it is, write it down in the steps, and then, okay, you have that's your system. Once you have that in place, write it down into a sales document. So you need a sales document that breaks it down. Here's my 8-step process, kind of like an ultimate guide or a mix of a case study and an ultimate guide, where you're linking a lot of information into, you're breaking down the system, and you're linking past experiences and insights you had, maybe in different niches or whatever. If you have an 8-step system, you might give an example of how you helped. It could be a case study, or you could just show for each step how you implemented that with a specific type of business and the specific benefit that it had, so that you're showing really proof in 8 different niches there straight off the bat that your system works, and that even though it's applied in different ways, it will deliver those same results. So you develop that cornerstone sales document, as I call it. It kind of acts as the center of your sales, your offer, your whole marketing and sales positioning, and it's effectively should be like the perfect pitch. And what it does is it plants the idea in the mind. You're demonstrating results you've achieved for others by planting the idea in their mind that I can help you achieve these results too. Then there's optimize your profile to maximize for inbound DMs. So no fancy websites and all that type of stuff. Unless you have one and it converts at say over 4%, of traffic that comes from LinkedIn, then I would just not have a website. You just even a direct link to your Calendly, because a bad website is worse than having no website at all. So optimize your profile to maximize inbound DMs. What that means is you want to get people talking to you as soon as possible. Reduce the amount of steps between when they first see you to when you can actually message them. Because when you message them, that allows you to then tailor, the conversation to them. Especially with LinkedIn DMs, where you can leave voice notes, which are very powerful. So if someone sends you a DM, you reply once, qualify them or just get a bit of information off them, and rather than just responding with a big long text block, take 59 seconds, record a voice note, which you can on your mobile version of LinkedIn, and this converts a lot of the time into a sales call, because it's a huge amount of trust built in straight away, because they can hear a human voice as opposed to just seeing text. So in this case, conversations are king, because the barrier to entry is so low, and you can also use them to, like, if you were just focusing on inbounds, you'll have people booking who aren't a good fit. When you talk to them, you can disqualify them in a mannerly way, and you're kind of saving them time and you as well. So once you have that in place, that's kind of the core foundation, those 3 steps. Now it's the outbound generation. So it's like we're posting daily content every day that details expert level insights for your ideal customers. So expert level insights are things that you've learned, your experiences, things that you wouldn't just find on Google in a blog. It has to be expert level stuff to show the nuance behind your thinking and the nuance behind what you do. It's not just the high level 8-step system. That isn't enough. You have to demonstrate depth of knowledge, and that depth of knowledge is what builds trust, and that trust is what turns into sales. So when you're posting this content, I found that sharing about 2 to 3 videos every week is very helpful with this. For the same reason as you're watching me talking now, I'm trying to share some nuanced information about, like, it's not just optimize your profile, post daily content. I'm sharing the nuance behind what needs to be in the content and how to do it, because that shows that I know what I'm talking about, because I've done it before a lot. You want to do the same. So I found 2 to 3 videos, probably about 5 to 10, maybe 12 minutes each is perfect. No more than that is needed. Just record on a video like this. You don't need... I spend $0 making these videos, but what my goal is to get the information across and have people listen to me and allow them to build up trust for me at scale, because this post and this video will be watched by a good few thousand people. So it's a very scalable thing. If you have a very specific ICP, I would share it then directly with them, because you can't always just be reliant on them being on LinkedIn at the right time and your message or your post popped up. You have the opportunity to just connect and then share those posts with them. So if you do a really good post, like I'm going to be sharing this post with fractional consultants, because I know that they will find it very useful if they're watching this video. In fact, if they've got this far, I know that they're going to find this useful, and we'll at least have a conversation, and I can guide them into the point of, where I can help them further. So share it out directly with them. Don't leave it to chance, and don't be at the mercy of the algorithm. Send it to them and make sure that the post teaches them something, so that they will learn something from it, and then they will be grateful to get it, because you're teaching them something new about a problem that they have. Ideally, and you're teaching them how to solve it, so they'll be grateful for that. Then the next step is, if it makes sense to do so, if they receive it well and if they show interest and you have a bit of a conversation with them and it makes sense to do so, book them in for a chat to see if you can help them more. Again, it's more about trying. You don't try and sell here. You're really just trying to move the conversation to a natural point of getting on a call, seeing if it makes sense if you can actually solve their problem as described, learning a bit more about their situation, and then if a relationship comes of that, great. If not, at least they learn something from you, and you'll build up a lot of goodwill that way. I have a specific step-by-step process I follow for the LinkedIn DMs. I'll go into that in another post, but you basically don't want to give away too much. If you give away too much, then they'll have no incentive to get on the call for you. So there has to be some sort of intrigue in your messaging, and there has to be something behind the cloak that you will then show them on a call or whatever that might be. If you're doing calls, I personally haven't doing calls for my program at the moment. I do it in a different way with I have videos and everything that I send through to people. Whatever your sales process is, you can then use LinkedIn DMs to move them down the channel in that. After they've booked the call, if a call is the thing, then you send them the sales document so that before they get on the call, they've learned everything about your system. They've already probably seen the Cornerstone post. They've already seen, your system. They've already seen the results you can get, but make sure that they know everything before they get on the call. If you have lots of case studies, obviously don't send them 100 different links, but pick your top 2 or 3 and make them count. So there should be at least a Cornerstone post. There should be a sales offer document, I call them. So a pre-selling primer is what I call them, which outlines not just how you do it, but the deliverables and the timeframes expected and the values and things like that. The value, but not the actual pricing. That only comes on the call. You get on the call, and I suggest using a 2-call close or a multi-call sales process. So don't try to close on the first call, because these are high value prospects, because you're selling into fractional offers. These are high value prospects. They're not just going to close after a 30-minute call and then say, hey, I've got 1 spot left, join up for tomorrow. It doesn't work like that. You need I've found success in using 2 calls. The first call is about 45 minutes, where it's about discovery, it's about education. They'll obviously ask questions, and then I can again show more specific nuance, depth of knowledge by answering those questions kind of live, and giving examples maybe where I've done that before or whatever that might be. I tell them the pricing on this call, and then I also suggest that, but I don't ask for an answer. I suggest that we book a second call to run through a game plan or strategy. So the game plan will then basically be a clear walkthrough of how it'll work. So what we'll do in week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've done this before. Examples where I've done this before. You kind of walk it all through. That'll give them a chance to understand, okay, what's going to happen after I pay to get started, because there's always a lot of buyer's remorse there. So they want a lot of certainty around that, what that is. So you want to give them that, and they're then going to have some objections, which you're going to have to handle. But I found that if someone gets to call 2 in this scenario, and call 2 is usually about a week after call 1, if they get to call 2, the deal closes most of the time. When I say most, I mean over 90% of the time, because they won't show up to call 2 and say no. They will cancel before then. So if you get on call 2, you can be very confident. You can go through that strategy. You can go through the game plan with them. They're going to have little questions, and maybe they'll try and bargain you down. And I would never drop my prices. I could add scope, but never drop my prices in that case. But once you get on the call, at that stage, it's just a case of, I always just do a presumptive close. So you say, okay, when would you like to get started? So as we covered, it takes me about 7 days from now to point 1, whatever your point 1 is. So in order to hit the goal of starting on March the 1st, we need to get the payment checkout done by next Tuesday. So I'm going to send you the link, and we'll get cracking. And usually it's just you don't have to say, would you like, where there's no will you buy or anything like that. It's just a natural final roll over the line, if that makes sense. So I've used this system to close deals worth up to $7,500 a month, and I've retained those customers for over a year. So this system has worked really well for me, selling a fractional type offer. But again, I've positioned it as more of a productized B2B service, which has been a huge part of the sales for me. I'd very much advise you to do the same. If you are a fractional consultant and you want a bit of help, or maybe you have some questions about how you can implement this, send me a message on LinkedIn, or send through an application to LinkedIn AI Mastery. Let's have a chat and see how you can implement it. Be very confident that if you do, you'll get similar results to the ones I have. So thanks for taking the time to watch. Have a good one.